Hello everybody, JohnFulford here for a quick chat. Over the weekend I'm recording this on video and on audio. If you would rather listen to just the audio of this, subscribe to my Fulford's World podcast. There's a link in the description for you to subscribe. I also have interviews with some musicians and some friends of mine. So this is going to be like one long take. I'm not going to be doing any edits or cuts or anything. This is more geared for audio, but I'm doing a video component as well for those of you watching on YouTube. So I've been getting hit up for the past few months, and it's been really increasing at the rate I get contacted from a lot of people from all over the world with the same types of problems. One gentleman off of Gear Sluts today private messaged me a really long and well thought out message, and I just figured let's do a video on it, and I could talk to everybody at the same time, because everyone is individual issues are somewhat different, but they all fit in the same basic framework of what I'm talking about. So this video is about, and this audio is about being stuck in a financial rut, okay? That's not a creative rut. It's a financial rut. I'd rather be stuck in a creative rut, to tell you the truth. Financial ruts, there's immediate consequences, and it's really harder to just snap out of a financial rut, than a creative rut, So a lot of people have been contacting me, and they've been saying, they've been demoing for a lot of gigs, and they didn't land any, and then they land some, and they don't land some. It's very hit or miss. The money's very hit or miss. They don't know what to do. They're writing all this music for these music houses and these licensing companies and these intermediaries, and a lot of times, 99 times out of 100, they don't get picked, and there's no demo fee, and then they're back to square one, right? And I'll be the first person to tell you, I went through something similar when I moved to Los Angeles. I was super lucky in the fact that I was cold calling for 3 years before I even moved to LA. So I had a couple of reality shows that would, I would do music for directly. So I always had rent money and stuff like that, but I couldn't really get to that next level, financial rut, I get it. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the strategy, and then we're gonna talk, like the second half of this is gonna be like the tactics. So I am gonna give you tactics and things that you could do right now today to help get out of a financial rut. I just wanna talk a little bit about the strategy, more bigger picture stuff first, because I'm answering like 24 people's questions in one shot. So I wanna make this applicable for everybody. First I wanna talk about like the mindset, okay? And if I mention someone by name on here, I'm using them as an example of what they said. I might think a different way, but I'm not putting their viewpoint down, okay? So a gentleman, Dr. B, I'll call him Dr. B because I don't even know if I'm even supposed to say his handle on here too much, but Dr. B was saying that, and he's a successful guy, like he's made his success and everything like that. He was saying that it would be super hard, and I agree with this, by the way. It's super hard to cold call and do music. And I will agree, and I'll even take it one step further to Dr. B's point. It's even harder to cold call and do music and rock a day job at the same time, right? But to get out of the financial rut, unless you win the lottery, you need to break out of it. You need to get out of that financial rut orbit. See, you're in an orbit right now. This is the financial rut. You're stuck in the orbit. And what do things do to get out of orbit? They got to increase the acceleration, to leave the rut's gravity. That's the extent of my science knowledge. If that's even right, I might be totally wrong, but from the movies I've seen, in my high school recollections of science, you needed the acceleration, okay? So for a while, and it might be a year, 2 years, 3 years, you need to push the envelope, okay? You need to cold call. You need to be a rabid animal on looking for gigs that will pay you. You need receivables. Look. I didn't set this up, but look, these are receivables. These are checks I've got through music, okay? Receivables. So receivables is for those of you listening, I literally had some checks on the table I'm taking to the bank to deposit, so I just showed the backs of them to the camera, okay? So those are receivables. That's a financial accounting buzzword that means money coming in. That means not spec. That means not if you win the gig, you get this. It means money that you could put down on your ledger that is owed to you by somebody or some entity, okay? So you need receivables. And a great way to do that is by cold calling. I know, cold calling is very, let me just make sure the audio's still. Check, okay. Cold calling, I know, it's mentally taxing. Let me just make sure, okay. It's mentally taxing, right? I get it. I get it. It's mentally taxing, but if you want to break out of that rut's orbit, you got to do it. Okay? The good thing is it's not physically taxing. So you could sit, you could be in the air conditioning, you could be in the heat in the winter, air conditioning in the summer, relax, and make some cold calls. You know, I was saying you should be making 20 a day, 5 days a week. You know, start with one. Not even one a day or one a week, just one. Just start with one, and then try another one, and then work up to it. You know, that breeds motion. Even if you get hung up on 10 times, at least you're getting information. They're saying, what if before they hang up on you, they say, no, we don't need orchestral stuff right now. And then you call the next person, we don't need orchestra, and you get that 4, 5, 6 times in a row. That's the industry, the marketplace trying to tell you something. Well, maybe they don't need orchestral. Maybe we should try something else, right? So at least you get information. At the best case scenario, you meet a new friend, okay, who you could rock with for a dozen years, okay? So cold calling, and I'm going to give you tactics. The next thing you need to do is think outside the box, okay? This game, and I say game not like the music game, I'm saying this is literally a kiddie game of doing stuff for spec, staying up late, spending your time doing this queue, and you send it off to some company that sends it off to another company that decides whether they want to use it. That's not a good game. And I'll tell you, look, I'll break it down for you from a company perspective. I'm speaking as a music publisher, a hustler, a library. Look, if I get a brief from an ad agency and it says we need a 16-second long track, you know, with jingle bells and a kazoo or something for some ad, and I hit up 100 composers and they all give me one version, I have 100 versions. I have 100 lotto tickets, 100 raffle tickets I could send to this company, and maybe one gets picked, maybe one doesn't. If it doesn't get picked, I didn't put any work into it. I just collected the tracks, zipped them up in a file, and sent it. You know what I mean? But 100 people put their time and effort into something that is probably not going to be good for any other situation unless it's this ad, right? So you just did something that it probably can't be converted into anything else. 16-second track with a kazoo and jingle bells. That's just an example, but you know, a lot of these things are really unique briefs, right? So that's that gravity of that rut pulling you in. And then say you land one of them and you get a few grand, then the next day you wake up, you're back to square one. Yeah, you got a receivable coming in, but that's only one thing. Then the next day, you get another brief, and you know, you got to try to win that. And then the whole time, life is passing you by. Your mortgage and rent payments are coming due on the 1st. You know, there's people on the internet now thinking 50 grand a year, you got to work a decade to earn 50,000 a year, when you could drive Uber and make 50,000 a year from day one. You got to work hard, you know, say 12 hours a day, work in Uber, and you can make 1,000 a week. Or you work for no money for a decade in music, and then after all that, maybe you'll make 50 grand a year. Y'all got to get out of that mindset, please. And if people want to stay in that mindset, great, that's your competition. You want your competition with that mindset, right? You want your competition with that mindset. But you don't want that mindset. You're trying to get 50 grand now, today, right? Not in 10 years. And 10 years from now, 50 grand might be only worth 43,000 or 45 or 40,000. You know what I mean? And $50,000, if you're trying to raise a family, you know, your spouse better have a great job to supplement your $50,000 income, because, you know, small town or a big city or whatever, that's just not going to go far if you have liabilities like children, or care for your elderly relatives, or if your car breaks down. Health insurance, I'm 34. Health insurance went up 4 times since I moved to LA. It was $100 a month. Now it's $440 a month or something now. So you need income coming in. You need receivables coming in. And you're not going to get that with these spec opportunities that you're working on every day and trying to wait for work to come in that's going to pay you. Look, spec is great when you're first starting out, right? It teaches you how to meet a deadline. It teaches you how to work fast. You know what I mean? I did a lot of spec stuff. Every once in a while, I land something. Most of the time, I do not. There's some supervisors, if they call me today, Saturday afternoon, with a spec opportunity, I'm going to take it because I send them music, they download it, they listen to it, and sometimes they sync it and something lands. So if there's a supervisor or an ad agency that you're cool with, they always download your links and stuff like that, and they want to throw you something spec, that's a great idea if it's direct. But if it's like a music library or music house that throws you these spec gigs, what's the point? How is that gonna be beneficial for you? All right, so I won't talk anymore about spec. That we'll move on from the spec situation. Next thing, you got to give it your all, ladies and gentlemen. You got to give it your all. Okay, case in point, I know 2 people. Sorry for my Europeans. I know 2 people that are trying to do music for reality TV. One guy's been doing it for like 20 years and his checks never get above $4,000 a piece. Another guy's been doing it 4 or 5 years and his checks have grown to be like really you could live off these checks. You know what I mean? You could raise a family off these checks. Okay? And the difference between the 2 of them is one guy is on Facebook going on vacation and hanging out, relaxing with a glass of wine with his feet up. And the other guy doesn't even have a Facebook. Literally, because you know why? He ain't got time for it. Okay? He's always doing tracks. Always. To the point where his neighbors are like, hey man, are you okay? We don't really see you outside too much. And he's like, yeah, I'm inside doing tracks. Like, the lights are on like at 3, 4 in the morning in your head. Is everything all right? They're kind of like half joking, half wondering what he's doing in there. Because they wake up in the middle of the night and they see a light on in this person's house because the guy is up doing tracks. And what's funny is this gentleman now, his checks are so fat that he could take a vacation and put his feet up and drink wine. And he could do that in a nice Airbnb or wherever that he pays for, that he drives to or flies to first class or drives to in his new automobile that he paid for with one of his checks. You see what I'm saying? So he put the work in. He put the work in up front. Okay, compared to the other person who can't get any momentum because they do a couple of tracks here, a couple of tracks there, and then they go, oh, well, I gotta take a break, get away for a while. No. You can't, you have to have the momentum. You gotta have the momentum. And nowadays, it's easier than ever to get momentum because of the internet. You can collaborate with people over the internet. You can find out look, B2B, what we do is calling music supervisors, music libraries, music publishers. It's so easy because you know exactly who your customer is. We're not selling products to the masses. We never meet any of our customers, but you know that if there's a show on television that plays a bunch of music like you have in your catalog, you can look up the exact person to call and say, hey, I got music that would fit on your show. That's B2B, and it makes it so much easier for everybody, okay? But you have to build the momentum. Okay, tactically. This is what you've probably been waiting for. Tactically, what do? How do you build momentum in this internet day and age? There's streaming and there's Netflix and yada, yada, yada. This isn't the same industry as it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, which I think is good because right now, it seems every month there's a new library popping up with budgets. Everyone's trying to build their own library. most cable networks, most production companies are building their own in-house libraries. Okay? And a lot of them don't have budgets, but a lot of them have budgets to pay. Look. Receivables. Okay? So how do you do that? All right, let's say you're a composer or producer, you've had some placements in the past. You know, you have a little reel, you have things on the internet people could watch with your music. And I know none of y'all are gonna do this, maybe 2 people, but y'all are gonna see the results, okay? You get a Facebook profile, a business profile for you, the composer, producer, music company, whatever it's called. And even if you did, the stuff off your reel was through another company, like another music house, whatever, you did the music, who cares? Don't let that assuage you from doing what I'm telling you. Hold on, let me take this is my cheat day, by the way, so I can drink soda. It's good. So you upload not your reel, each placement, one at a time, to your business Facebook page. Upload it to native Facebook video, not YouTube and then port it to Facebook, not Vimeo and porting it to Facebook. Upload it to Facebook native itself. If it dings you for a copyright strike, then try Vimeo and stuff, but you want it ideally to be native Facebook. Okay? So upload a video that you're really proud of, like maybe it's something people have heard about. It's a Toyota commercial with your music, something cool. Ideally, it's an ad from a brand that people have heard of. Okay, Toyota, people have heard of Toyota. Okay, Infinity, okay, Coca-Cola, cool, all right? If it's not something like that, make it as close as possible. Is it a film? Okay, who's starring in the film? Make it, try to get something that's recognizable. Okay, that new Dwayne Johnson film. Winona Ryder, okay, she's not a big celebrity, but people know her name, right? Beetlejuice. So just don't use any Donald Trump videos. There's a library posting like, we did the song for a Ted Cruz campaign. You might not want to do that, okay? So, but again, this is your competition. That's what they're doing, okay? So it's, the marketplace wants you to succeed, okay? So you upload the videos to native Facebook. You type a really cool caption, glad to work on this film directed by woo woo woo, featuring my song, whatever, and you could buy a Facebook ad for that piece of video. And I get hit up all the time. Facebook, here's a $10 gift certificate from Facebook to run an ad. Okay, so they want you to run ads. So what you want to do is you get the video, you do the ad. Now, you gotta do some research on how to run your Facebook ad effectively. And look, if y'all don't want to do this, if you're like, well, but, then you're not gonna succeed, guys and ladies. Okay, because people are out here doing this, they're landing stuff, and if you don't want to do this for whatever reason, that's on you. Okay, I'm giving y'all the blueprint. Okay? Buy a Facebook ad targeting the people that will see that and wanna know more about you. For instance, if it's a film placement, you want to target film critics, you want to target film directors, you want to target screenwriters, you want to target actors and actresses. Okay, if you're doing an ad video for the Facebook ad execs, all right, production managers, ad producers, ad critics, things like that. Okay, doesn't have to be a music supervisor, just somebody in the industry. And you could raise your profile for like $10 a day. You could raise your profile, okay? You could target it even in specific cities. For instance, Cannes Lion was last month. That's a big ad agency, what's the nice word for it? Conference for the ad industry, okay? And these 2 young geniuses from Miami Ad School were, I forgot, were they in the Miami branch? They were at Miami Ad School. I don't know if they were in the Miami campus, but they weren't in Cannes, but they wanted a job. So what they did was they bought a Facebook ad that only ran in Cannes that week during Cannes Lion, and it said, Didn't win a lion this year? Hire us and next year we'll take it home. Or we'll build you a zoo with all your con lion after we work for you. And not only did they get a lot of attention, they got press in the international ad industry media, in the trade magazines and the trade websites. Okay, for like $100 ad. $100. They got thousands of dollars worth of press. They got a story. From now on, when they go into an ad agency meeting, a job interview, and the hiring manager looks them up on Google before they come to the interview, this is the person that did that ad in Cannes. Oh, that was genius. Oh, okay. So they walk in and they already have a story. Their reputation precedes them. Okay? So Facebook ads is a great way to do that no matter where you're from in the world. You could target things. Okay? You could target people in LA, New York, Chicago, and then figure out how to target the ad industry. I know how to do it, but you guys got to look that up on your own. It's super easy. I'm just not going to give you all of the game. Okay, you got to look that up. How do you target people that follow ad industry comings and goings? Okay, and I'm talking $10 a day, $25 a day for 2 days. Just try it. And it gets your name out there. It gets your name out. It gets your name out. People see the ad, they see your name associated with it, they like your page, okay? They like your Facebook page, and then guess what? Now, they're involved in what you're doing. And you drop a new piece of music on Facebook, you drop a new video, you drop a something, and guess what? They're gonna see it, okay? You got them. You didn't have to cold call. You have to cold call, but not these people. Okay? And what happens when you run an ad? You run an ad, someone sees it, and then a week later you cold call them. And they say, hey, I saw your ad on Facebook. You're the person that did that Infinity campaign. Come on. Geez Louise. I mean, that's the ticket. Right? Come on. So that's just one way to do it. Another good thing to do to get out of the rut is to go to a school, high school, middle school, preschool, elementary school, whatever, and say, hey, I do music, I'm a composer, I would like to get involved with your music program at the school, volunteer. All right, that's a good way to get back to the community. It's a good way to meet new people. It's a good way to just do music in a certain way, think about something in a different way, and it's a good way to get press. Okay? And I would say this, I was on some professional organization committees, and everyone's like, how do we get more membership? And I was like, let's go paint a mural at a high school. And they go, graffiti, and these stupid laughs, But if you think about it, it's a good way to get noticed. Look, Jingle Jared, I'm gonna talk about the dude from Jingle Punks for a second. Jingle Jared went to Real Screen Expo, and he had Jingle Punks urinal cakes, like urinal pucks, and he put them in the toilets, in the urinals. And to this day, everyone laughs. I wouldn't do that for JohnFulford music, but that helped Jared make millions of dollars because he got noticed. Now everybody's threshold for being noticed is different. Mine is a lot lower than going to Real Screen in a tracksuit or a karate suit and putting urinal cakes in the toilet. I wouldn't do that, but I recognize, that you gotta be known. It helps get you known, all right? And a great way to get you known is to go volunteer your time in something cool. Okay, go to a high school and donate some of your old recording equipment, but to them it's new. All right, go help an elementary school with their school play, especially for people that live in smaller cities. Okay, because then you get press a lot easier. If it's LA, you have to be Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre is donating money to these schools, literally in LA. Okay, so if I do it, I do it, but it's just I don't expect to get any praise. I don't even talk about it, But if you're living in a smaller city, that's a surefire way to get on, okay? And a lot of y'all ain't doing it. You're spending time instead doing these spec opportunities, and did it go through? And because you think you're working. You think you're working, but that's not work. That's not work. That's hanging out. Literally, it's not work. Back in the day, people say, oh, I'm so busy with work. What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing spec for this person, doing a spec remix. I'm like, that's not work. That's fun. That should be your fun time. If you're not getting receivables, look, I'm gonna show you. If you're not getting receivables, you gotta sell yourself somehow to get receivables. And one more thing before I wrap up. So many people hit me up. Oh, like they're good salesmen, but their music isn't up to par yet. And there's so many people who, every time I say, hey, you should sell yourself, oh, I can't do that. Their music is great, but they're broke. So y'all need to link up. I don't like either in the comments on this video or on a forum and work together and complement each other. Because some people want to sell, and their music, they're haven't been doing music for too long, and their music ain't that great, ain't that good. And there's other people, music is good, but they need to be given direction. So the salesman could do the cold calls and say, okay, look, we're gonna do a couple of these swamp tracks because this music supervisor needs swamp tracks, things like that, okay? But this rut, this cycle, this treadmill, it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. Spec work, and do they accept it, and notes, and they give you notes, and you do the notes and still don't get picked. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the look. That's not the look. So just to recap real quick, cold call. There's no way around it. Cold call. 2, Facebook ads. If you already have placements, run them. $5 a day, $10 a day, whatever you want to spend a day. Super targeted ads, super targeted. Okay? Third thing, community involvement. Just go do something for the community. And I'm not talking about playing at Jeb's Bar and Grill. No, you should be working. You shouldn't be doing that. Okay? I'm talking about going to a school. All right? Or some nursing home. Something like that. Community, not a bar. Okay? No. So, hope that was informative. Hit me up in the comments below. Hit me over email, musiclicensingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a good rest of your day.